Hey everyone, Jeremy here. It is Saturday morning and we're going to create some art. It's going to be awesome. Saturday mornings, they're a little bit early for me. It's 10 o'clock here in the Eastern time zone of the United States. I don't expect a lot of people to be awake, but sometimes on Saturday mornings, I like to break out, some art supplies and just give something a go. Today I was like, well, I'm going to start off my day. Working on some charcoal. I've been doing that throughout this week. I started on like Tuesday, I think, doing like a horse and charcoal. I liked how that turned out, so I thought, hey, I'm going to try some of those techniques on doing a dog. And sorry about the dog over here coughing up a lung. Um, so I did that last night. I worked on a golden retriever. I thought that looked pretty cool. So now I'm going to try my own dog, this dog over here, Guinness, like a while back, like before he had the white in his face and all of that stuff. So he's got this really cool expression in this reference photo. So I'm gonna try to capture that as best I can. I don't know. It's just Saturday morning. I don't expect much on Saturday mornings, but we've already got Edie in the room, or Eddie, however it's pronounced, from New York City, which is awesome. Um, so if you guys enjoy just hanging out, watching people draw, then and chatting with them while they're doing it, then this is the show for you. So I'm just gonna jump right in. Um, so one of the reasons why I have to wait until like 10 o'clock in the morning, even though I usually get up a little bit earlier on Saturdays, is because the light coming in through the room, you can see like behind me, like this room's all lit up. The light coming in through the window, you can see where it just kind of cuts off like right here. So it comes in through the window, and if I don't wait until 10 o'clock, my entire art space here is like, oh, Edith. Okay, all right, cool. Edie, nice. Um, yeah, if I don't wait until like 10 o'clock, I mean, basically there's light all over this stuff. But anyway, I'm just gonna jump right in. So the technique I usually do for these pictures, or at least the technique I'm practicing, for those of you who are new to this show, I am a self-taught artist. I am still learning. So sometimes I create pure crap. It looks terrible. And then other times I create stuff that looks halfway decent. But I'm always learning. I'm always practicing. Most people on the weekends they're out having a good time. I'm in here practicing art, which to me is a good time. So the technique that I've been practicing this week is where I take this blending stump and I use it to kind of like mass in the figure that I'm trying to draw. In this case, it is my dog. He's making a really cool face. So this is going to be his face. So it's it's a little bit time consuming, but it's kind of cool to watch it develop on the page. I do this because doing something nice and soft like this, I can still kind of like, change the direction of it. I can make it bigger if I want. I can make it smaller. It's easy to erase. There's not like a lot of commitment in the picture by using this soft kind of just mass. Like I could easily erase this entire thing if I wanted to. Is that blue or gray paper? So this is just white paper. Sometimes I do start with tone paper. It's just because of my camera and the lighting in here that it looks blue. It does look kind of bluish gray. Um, I haven't worked out the lighting situation in this room yet. Um, I'm just using like my phone cam, so it's not like I even have the best camera for this situation. So that is one of the drawbacks. I wish I could do like something a little bit better than that, but it is what it is. So it just looks kind of bluish gray. I can tinker with the settings, I think, and try to like brighten it up. But yeah, it does look toned, doesn't it? Yeah. Um, it's even worse when I'm doing pictures like at night because the lighting in here is just really terrible. I've got like a light above it, and it kind of like makes everything kind of look yellowish or orange. So it really only matters to me, I think, if I'm doing like a picture in color or something, and I'm trying to tell you guys what color it is because I'll be like, yeah, so you might want to use this green here, and the green looks orange. Then it matters. So he's I know it looks kind of weird, but he's got kind of his face is kind of upturned. I chose this picture because it is challenging. Like like he's got an expression that it's got shapes that I'm not used to. But I think we'll figure it out. The whole point of this process is to kind of like kind of like just draw the shapes that you see and kind of like trust the process. You can always refine this stuff. Like I'm not really certain that these are the right proportions yet. Like I'm not sure about this tongue. I want to extend his head out a little bit here. Somewhere up here there's going to be like an eye. It's a lot of fun. I like it. So he's going to have like an eye up here. Just going to kind of sketch that in real quick. So you say you're from New York City. That's cool. Um, I live in Kentucky currently. That's where I'm streaming from. Kentucky's kind of cool. It's mostly horse farms around here. So today I'm probably going to go out driving around, maybe take some pictures and stuff of different like horse farms and stuff that maybe I can draw later. It's really pretty. Hey, Just Dave. Just Dave's from the UK. I may not have given myself enough room up here, but I think I can fit the dog's face in. So this would be kind of like the start of the year. He he kind of looks a little funny right now, but the problem is when you're doing like a live stream, um, it's different if you're just doing this like off camera or something like that. Nobody's really watching, so you can do it in whatever order you want. Um, Nobody's keeping track. But when you're doing like a live stream, it's gotta look not weird pretty quick, or else like I can imagine people tuning in and not really realizing that there's a process here, and they look at this and be like, "What the heck is this guy drawing?" Um, there is a process. Hopefully, it does come together eventually, but you're it's like looking at the clouds at first. You have to kind of imagine that the dog is going to be in this picture. So again, just kind of blocking things in. So like usually I would avoid doing something like this dark at first, just because I'm not 100% sure I'm happy with where the nose nostrils are. But just so that you guys kind of get an idea of where I'm going with this picture, I'm um I'm adding a little bit darker areas than I would normally do, but that's okay. How's the weather in Kentucky? It is so nice out. I am definitely going out today, doing something outdoors because it is bright out there. It is sunny. I don't see a single cloud out there. It is super nice. I don't know how it's supposed to be for the entire weekend. I haven't checked. Um, by the way, happy Father's Day for those of you who are either in the chat or like watching this later. Father's Day is tomorrow, so in the United States, I forget Just Dave is in the UK. I wonder, do they have Father's Day over there in the UK? I would imagine they have something like that. Looks like the thing from Fantastic Four. so so believe it or not, and I'm not sure how I'm going to draw this. This is a tongue coming out. So like we'll get there. It does kind of look like the thing from Fantastic Four. I'm looking forward to that movie whenever they get around to finishing it. I'm looking forward to Deadpool as well this July. I think that's gonna be good. I always like the Deadpool movies. So this is supposed to be like a tongue sticking out. This is a bit of a challenge. Like I said, these are shapes I'm not used to. If I was just drawing a dog, I think I could manage, but this is a dog making a face. Like I said, this is Guinness back when Guinness was younger. He's got a lot of white in his face now, but he was like a completely black dog. So it might start looking more like a dog face, I think, after I add this ear, so that you kind of get an idea of, you know, doggy's floppy ear. He's taking up a lot of the space on the page too. Like that's a little odd for me. Usually I like to put in some white space around the subject, but it is what it is. I think it'll look cool. It makes more sense now with the eye. Yeah, I mean, give it some time. It'll start making sense, I hope. Oh, okay. So yeah, they have Father's Day in the UK as well. That's cool. Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. Living in the United States, I sometimes forget that there's a big old world out there, and then I hop on the internet and talk to people from other countries and stuff, and I'm like, oh wow, yeah, I never thought about like whether or not they celebrate. Like everybody celebrates Christmas, everybody celebrates some of the other holidays, but when you get into things like Thanksgiving and stuff like that, it's like, no, of course they don't celebrate that in other countries and stuff. And then you're like, well, that's weird. What do people do over in other countries? And then, other holidays that they do celebrate that you've never heard of and stuff. Those are fascinating to me too. Like, I don't know. I think Canada has like Boxing Day after Christmas or something like that, and it's like, what is Boxing Day? Is that do they celebrate like people boxing? I don't know. But I guess every country is going to have like different celebrations. Like we have Independence Day coming up soon. That's literally where we about independence from you guys. Um, but yeah, that's definitely not something that other countries have. But other countries would probably have some kind of like founding day or something like that. Um, Edie says, "Do you sell your artwork, please, or is it a personal thing for me?" So I right now, like, I'm mostly just like learning. It's a personal thing where I'm trying to get better at what I do. Uh, I have like sold some stuff as far as like commissions go, like on occasion. Somebody might contact me and ask me for like a specific request or something. But even there, it's mostly like a donation type thing. So people have donated like art supplies to me. People have like cheered me on and stuff like that, which is kind of cool. Um, I have my coffee paintings. I think are probably my more like sellable work. I don't know. Like a lot of this time, like this dog here, nobody's going to buy this dog. This, for one thing, is my dog. So I don't picture a lot of people being that interested in it. So things like this are obviously just me practicing, having fun. Most of my work is that, uh, me trying out different techniques. Some of my stuff, I would say probably somebody might be interested in buying. I have sold a couple of my coffee paintings. People seem to be really interested in those. Um, so anyway, it's not something I'm opposed to. It's just something that I don't feel like I'm creating work that people would want to buy unless it's like their own dog. Like if I'm drawing their dog or something, then that's what they're buying. They're not buying a dog. Like if that makes sense. Sometimes I don't make a lot of sense. But yeah, I mean I do commissions sometimes and stuff. So hopefully you're starting to see. So he's got like he's got his head kind of like cocked. This is his tongue sticking out. It's it's a it's a fun picture. I don't know how to like make this look more like a tongue. I'm gonna have to really work this area here. I think this is going to be a bit of a challenge here, getting the tongue to actually look like a tongue. But his tongue sticking out. He's got his face coming over here. This would be where his other eye is, just above the nose. Maybe extend the nose up a little bit. So what I like about doing this nice and soft is that you can kind of move things around. So like I'm not 100% sold on, well, at this point I'm kind of committed to this being the size of his face. But I may want to kind of like move his ear a little bit. So you kind of block things in like this, or mask things in, I guess, is probably the proper term. Um, So I don't know what other people say. Like I said, I'm kind of self-taught and make up my own terms and stuff like that. But I like the term block or like mass in because you're really kind of creating a mass of shape here. It's almost like, working with clay or something like that, you're building up the clay on the page. And in that sense, it's kind of sculpting. And I contrast this to like how some other people might draw, where they draw like a shape, like a line or something to represent. So they might draw like an oval and then extend that out with like another oval and stuff, and then kind of work that way. I like this way. This way is more like painting to me. You know, like I can picture myself sitting here with a paintbrush, kind of just painting in this dog's shape. So I like that better. Or I don't know if I like it better. It's just what I'm more used to. It's a technique I like. I kind of like it for a number of reasons. One, it works. You know, that's good. I can move things around. I'm not kind of like stuck on anything like that. I can refine the picture more. Um, but I also like how loose it looks. I like that it looks sketched instead of like really precise with like maybe a pencil and all that. I don't know. It's a lot of fun. Independence Day is the day I spend the entire day jealous of people who live where fireworks are legal. Oh yeah, I didn't even think. Well, they have fireworks in New York City, though, right? I guess that would probably be more like a more controlled type thing. You can't just like light off your own fireworks. I'm not. I don't think fireworks are legal here. I don't buy a lot of. No, they are because they sell them. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. I'm dumb. I was trying to think of whether or not fireworks are legal here, but obviously they are. They sell them down the street. I don't know why that's obvious. That's not obvious. Yeah, they sell fireworks here. It's not as good as you may think. So like because fireworks are legal here and because everybody buys fireworks, you basically end up with fireworks being lit for like the entire week of July 4th, like all night long, as soon as it gets dark until sometimes 1 or 2 in the morning. And it sounds kind of cool and everything, except that like when you have dogs that are petrified of like fireworks, and like they don't give you time off of work or anything. Like they give you like maybe July 4th itself, maybe July 3rd or something like that, but they don't give you time off for like the entire time that people are lighting up fireworks every night. So it's not as good as it seems like on the surface. Fireworks are illegal in all of New York State, but on Independence Day there are some, and police pretty much look the way. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, I like New York myself. I I've driven through there, I think a couple of times. It's actually on my list of things that I want to do. I want to go and just kind of like do some urban exploring through New York. I like urban landscapes. I would love to be drawing things from New York. That sounds really cool to me. Just kind of like sit in the park, draw people. That's another thing. So that's another thing that I'm trying to learn. Not just the technique, but also the speed. Like I want to be able to draw fast enough that I can do people's portraits while they're like, on the train or, subway or sitting in a park or something like that. So then maybe I might sell those things, or like it would probably be more like, hey, I drew you here. Have this. You guys have seen the YouTube videos where people draw on the subway and stuff. That sounds really ideal to me. That sounds really cool. But gotta practice to get there. I like I like how this is turning out. That so like hopefully you can kind of see a dog here a little bit. And now that I've done this, right? So now that I've kind of done this massing in, I'm going to kind of like start refining it, and kind of work it a little bit. So I think trying to remember the series. So I'm also trying to work on a like a method, right? So like I'm trying to remember what the order of the steps were. So the first one is like blocking things in with the blending stump, but then I think I switched to the paintbrush, and then I just use my stick of charcoal, grab a little bit of water, use it almost like doing watercolor, and then kind of come in here. So this allows me to like work pretty quickly as far as like getting some darker areas in. There's only so dark you can go with that blending stump. So that's what I like about it, but also, you know, at some point you have to switch to something else. Like you don't want to go dark with the blending stump. You want it to be nice and soft. You want all your marks to be easy to remove. So there's some teeth in here. I think I'm going to just kind of simplify these teeth. Gotta move this out of the way, sorry. So there's some teeth through here. That might be a bit much. Let me try to lift some of that off. Got a little carried away there. There you go, lighten that up a little bit. Charcoal's pretty forgiving. It does like stain the paper, but then also you can remove it pretty easily. I like working with mediums that are forgiving because I make a lot of mistakes. One of the reasons why I really like working with the coffee, like doing coffee paintings and stuff, is it's really easy to like fix mistakes in coffee. I should be working with coffee today, but Bill Gorman says, I got a wet puppy. Bet you're glad I don't have a cat. I like Bill Gorman. He's great. Get some shadow in here underneath. Hopefully at some point this starts really looking like a tongue. Right now it's tough to see. A lot of people see charcoal as kind of like something that you might start off with as a medium and then kind of move away from as you like progress throughout your like people see it as like a stepping stone on the way to painting. Like a lot of people devalue like just drawing in general. I think that that's unfortunate because I like it as a medium. I think it's great. It's got a lot of versatility to it. Um, you can you can use it to paint gigantic pictures if you want. There's no there's nothing stopping you from exploring it a little bit further than what most people do. Most people use it to like do sketches and studies and things like that, which I get, but I feel like you can become really good at using charcoal and just like I don't think that you're going to feel limited at all if you if you tried to master charcoal. I think that um, you have a lot that you can do there. This might take on it at least. Like it's a dry medium, but then when you combine it with like water and stuff, I think that's kind of fascinating. And that's really what I've been trying to do. Like this week, I've done three pictures in this kind of same technique, and I think that's what I like about it because like I'm using the medium in several different ways, and the goal is to create like several different pictures that that all kind of are done in the same way, but they are all different. Hi, cousin Eddie. It's Edie. You're descended from Governor General Robert Sedgwick to Port Royal and first English governor of Jamaica. Okay, that's fascinating, man. The other thing that I'm really excited about with this picture is that it is a completely a different, a totally different viewpoint of a dog than what I'm used to doing. And I think that's important because like it is my goal to kind of like be a better. So there's a couple of different pictures that I like to draw. I really want to be better at drawing people's portraits, but I'm not very good at drawing people's portraits, and I realize that. It took me a while to realize that, but I'm still practicing on that. I'll probably continue practicing, but I think what I really do enjoy a lot, and I think that there's probably more promise for me, is that I like doing animals. I like doing wildlife pictures. I like doing people's pets. I like doing dogs, cats, mostly dogs. Uh, I like doing, you know, animals that you might find out in the wilderness. Those are all things that I really enjoy doing, and I feel like I there's like a lot of room to grow there. And when that's your goal, when it's your goal to like draw animals, you have to like take the animals as they are, right? So like you can't always just have a dog kind of like line up perfectly and sit in the chair for you. Or like if somebody's sending you a photo to work from, you know, it's not the dog isn't going to be in a position that you think is easy to draw. You have to draw the dog as they are, and people take pictures of their dog doing all kinds of cute things. So, a dog in this position here, this pose is basically what you got to practice, because like you never know. You're probably going to get a picture from somebody at some point where the dog is making some weird face, and the weird face stuff is tough because like I don't know, you're basically having to like shut off your mind and not draw what you think you see. You have to draw what you actually see, or in this case, paint what you actually see. I could have probably done this in watercolor as well, but I like uh, I like trying different techniques in charcoal. Starting to get a face in there. Um, but Sedgwick isn't my real last name. I chose it because so many told me I look like HRR. I don't know who that is. So this guy, he is a black dog, but he's reflecting some lights in some areas, so it's not all black. This is also when my dog was younger. Now my dog has like a lot of white, especially in his face. It's so sad because he used to be like basically all black with like just like a dollop here and there of like white. I think he had like a little bit of white in his chest and a little bit of white on his paws, but that's it. Rained yesterday. Jill jumped on the bed this morning, soaked. Had to close her out of the bedroom. That's sad. I've got three dogs in here. I've got my two dogs, they're over here, and then I've got my parents' dog. So I don't know if you guys can hear it, but all they're doing is snoring. It's super early in the morning for them. They stay up all night and annoy me, and then like they sleep in the mornings. I say annoying, but they're not really annoying. I love my dogs. They can do no wrong. Even when they do wrong, it's like I can't be mad at them too long. So I guess the technique that I find myself doing is start with the blending stump just to kind of like feel your way around, get some mass going in the picture. Switch to the brush with a little bit of water, lightly water. So the other thing is, so this is mixed media paper instead of like watercolor paper. If I was using a lot of water, I would definitely want to use watercolor paper, but this mixed media paper works pretty well for soaking up some of this light bit of water that I do use. Um, and I tape it down and stuff just to keep it from warping, but it doesn't really warp that bad. Like the two pictures I did earlier in the week, they weren't that warped. And oftentimes when I do watercolor, just because there's so much water involved, it does warp the paper. So I'm pleasantly surprised. As long as you keep like your brush kind of dry, You don't really have to worry about that. And I like the look of the kind of dry brush essentially going on here. As you get further away from the face, you can kind of like be a little bit looser with things, kind of keep it a little bit abstract. Down here, I'm going to use some of that technique where I, put splatters and stuff like that. So I'm not too worried about detail down here. But it's a process. Yeah, we're only like 30 minutes into this and we already have like the shape of the dog. So that's kind of cool. It's not like I'm timing myself, but the quicker I'm able to get like the presence of a dog in, the better. Also, yeah, I have to um Jack has red mural. I can't pronounce anything today. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, so like I forget what I was saying. It's way too early in the morning. I have not. So like this is my third cup of coffee and it's never enough. The problem is I stay up late. I stay up late on Fridays. Like last night I was watching a movie and didn't want to like, call it a night. So I stay up pretty late and then I get up pretty early just out of habit. It's not a good combination. I don't get enough sleep. The dogs, in particular, they're all like on this weird schedule. They don't know when they should be sleeping, when they shouldn't be. All right, so now that I've got kind of like the basics of everything in, and I've got kind of like a second layer. So this would be like two layers at least going on, which is cool. All art is just like piling layers upon layers and stuff. I mean, I don't whatever else they try to tell you in these videos and stuff, that's basically all it is. It's just piling layers upon layers, and then you end up with this cool looking dog in the end. Um, all right, so I would consider that kind of layer two, maybe. So the layer three is I think where I come in and I take my pencil and I kind of like dip it in the water. So you don't really need to dip your pencil in the water. You can just draw otherwise, but I like doing that because it comes out super dark. Like in the last two pictures that I've done, it came out looking really nice. So I'm just gonna stick with the plan, what I've done before, and just kind of go with it. But when you dip your charcoal in the water, you get this really dark with almost no effort. I'm barely pressing on this paper. You get this really dark charcoal that kind of smooths out like ink. It feels like ink when you're putting it down. So I think that's kind of cool. Um, First time I did this, I'm like, wow, that's super smooth. It really is almost like you're changing your charcoal into ink at this point, and it works really great. So I consider this the third layer. Well, I don't a little more than consider it. It is the third layer. Um, so the third layer I would call like so the first layer is like kind of like molding the Edie, yeah, I appreciate you stopping in. This is obviously going being recorded, so it'll be up there. You can check it out later and stuff. I appreciate you stopping in. Thank you so much. Yeah, it always trips me out. Like people apologize for having to leave and stuff. It's like go handle your business. It's like, this will be here for you later. I appreciate you guys stopping in, but um, you don't have to feel obligated to. Edie seems pretty cool. She's from New York City, so I feel like that's the art mecca. Like, I would love to be in New York City with all the museums there and stuff like that. I'd be going to those like every weekend. There's no decent museums in this town. There's some galleries that are cool, but there's no real nice museums, I have to travel either to Louisville or Cincinnati for a decent museum. I love the one in Cincinnati. I grew up going to that museum. I talk about how I used to skip school and catch a. So they have a mass transit system in Cincinnati called the Metro. It's mostly I think they have some like cable cars now or something like that. I don't know, but it used to be just buses and stuff. So obviously I couldn't drive when I was like 13 years old, but I still wanted to go out and explore things. So I would skip school and I would catch a metro because like uh, they don't care how old you are and stuff when you hop on one of those buses. They really should, but they didn't back then. I don't know, maybe they do now, but back then, um, at age 13, I could just hop on a bus and head to like downtown Cincinnati instead of like being in the suburbs. So I would do that. I would go down to the museum, the art museum, because like it's free. It doesn't cost anything. There was like some endowment from some like rich person, and they said like, look, I'll give you all this money as long as you promise to always keep the museum free. So that's what it is. And the only thing they ever really charge for is I don't even think they charge for parking. I think the only thing they ever charge for is like special exhibits. So like I went to go see a an exhibit where they had like a bunch of samurai swords and um, like old samurai armor and things like that. That was awesome, by the way. Like just to see a bunch of samurai swords everywhere. That was really cool. I love samurais. But anyway, so that cost money. And I don't think that was even that much, but it did cost a little bit of money. But just to go in and look at the art and stuff, that was all free. And it's a nice collection. It's not like some cheap garbage collection. They have basically all the painters and artists that you would expect. I don't know if they're like great representations of the work and stuff, but like every famous artist that you would ever think of, they're all represented at least, which is cool. Hey, Huli, how's it going? Yeah, it's going okay. Um, I'm awake. That's all I can really say. Bill says, might go camp at Forest Church in the mountains at Cathedral Campground. Nice. But yeah, so like I've been talking about the Cincinnati Art Museum a lot because I've been itching to go up there, and I think I might go up there next Friday just because they have like an after dark thing. I don't know if I want to go like um because like it's not just like art after dark thing. It's also because it's Pride Month, they're doing like a drag show up there. I think that would be funny. I know that's not for everybody, but I'm gonna go up and watch the drag show in addition to the art. I just think that's cool, entertaining as they call it. I know that that's not everybody's cup of tea, so if that's not your cup of tea, I don't want to offend anybody, but I am going to go watch the drag show. But the museum there is really nice. Like I said, I've been going there since I was a teenager, skipping school, taking a bus down there. I've got some famous, not famous, favorite pieces. Well, they're kind of famous too. Some favorite pieces there. They're like old friends. They never changed. Like, geez, it's been a long time since I was a teenager. Um, but this stuff is still there. It's like an old friend. You go to the art museum, and see your favorite pieces. I kind of like that aspect of art, especially at like big museums. Like I feel like if I went to the National Art Museum in DC, Washington DC, the same pieces I saw when I was a kid would still be there. I went back a few years ago, and it's been a while since I was a kid too. So like I don't remember all the stuff that I liked when I was a kid and went to the Smithsonian. Not the Smithsonian. This is the National Institutes of Art. But well, the Smithsonian stuff, like the exhibits there, most of those were unchanged as well. So it's like it's got this little nostalgic thing to it, I guess. They identified the spot to buy the. Yeah, it is like an old friend. Just say, yeah, I mean, because like I don't know, some of these pieces you see them in magazines and like on the internet and stuff like that. Some of the paintings is so different when you see one of these things in person. Like if you guys aren't people who frequent um, art museums or art galleries and stuff like that, I really do encourage you guys to. Like I don't know why you wouldn't. If you're watching my show, you at least appreciate art. So like I imagine that you guys do go to some of these things. But if you don't, like if some random person just happened in on this chat and they don't spend a lot of time going to art museums, they don't have like a huge appreciation for art. They like seeing a dog or something like that, but they don't actually go to art museums. Give it another shot because when you're there in person, I love that aspect of art when you're there in person and you're looking at a brushstroke. And you can see some of the pictures online, they're like such high resolution that you can kind of do this as well, but it's a lot different when you're there in person. But when you see a picture and you know you kind of like looking at the brush stroke because that's what I do. I like to try to figure out how these people did these pictures. And you're looking at this brush stroke and stuff like that that was put there like I don't know even 200 years ago. But like in the case of like Leonardo da Vinci, that's like 500 years ago and stuff. Um, it's a big deal. I mean, it's almost like mental time travel. You know, you're thinking about um, you know, like Forrest Fenn talks about like the George Washington painting and how like he touched it with his hand and how that kind of like transports him back to like when that picture was actually painted. That is all real stuff. Like it mentally, like just looking at those brushstrokes mentally puts you in the place of when the artist, um, you know, first put that brushstroke down. Like you can't help but think about like, wow, I'm looking at what the master's hand put on this canvas, and it is kind of amazing. And I think you can kind of get that a little bit online, like if you look at like a really high resolution picture of a painting or something like that. But it's not the same as being there in person. And I don't even need to go with other people. Like a lot of times, like going in person, there's this social aspect to it. Like you go with friends or you know, family or something like that, I can go to an art museum alone and be completely entertained. Maybe entertained's not the right word, but um, completely happy enough just to be there myself in the presence of these artworks. So yeah, I feel like it's almost like a pilgrimage. So I feel like I might take a pilgrimage to the art museum over the next couple of days. So this layer I think is the one that takes the most amount of time because like it's the detail layer. Now I switch back and forth between the different layers. Like I'm not going to like just do these details and call it done. I think I'll probably switch back to some of the other stuff as well because there's probably like a fourth layer, I guess, which is like so like you first mass in your picture and then you come back and kind of smooth things out and make things make a little bit of sense. That's the whole paintbrush part. Then you know you come in and you start adding some detail like I'm doing here, and then I think there's probably like a fourth layer or step where you come in and kind of add things above this even, if that makes sense. I think that's the process. That's what I've been doing this week. That's the you know I've done two pictures using this process, completely different looking pictures. So like the horse I did on Tuesday and the dog I did last night, and compare those to this, completely different pictures. But the technique is about the same. You know, little small differences, I guess. And I think the two that I did, they're not perfectly good representations of a style, but I do think that they look similar enough that I feel like I'm heading in the right direction. So that's important to me, and I've kind of developed this style with my coffee paintings, and I'm like, man, that's awesome. I'm glad that I'm able to make consistent coffee paintings, And now that I'm doing that, which I've almost got down to a science. I feel like I want to apply that to other mediums. So like I'm trying to do the same thing with charcoal here, where I'm like, well, if I do things in a consistent way and stuff, maybe they'll all kind of look like they're done by the same artist, which I think is cool. That's where you end up developing a personal style, which I hear is important when you're an artist. I don't know. I don't know how important it is because I am kind of all over the place. When you look at my pictures that I do, they don't, they're not exactly consistent. They are kind of all over the place. I'm trying to get better at that, so that oh, I at least want things to look like they're all done by the same person. That's important to me. Fremont statue in Florence, Colorado, posed like FF's lumberjack, but with a transit because he was known as the Pathfinder. That's pretty cool. I have a transit. I have an old. I'm gonna have to go and dig that out, but I have an old transit from. I want to say the 1800s. I'm not sure. It's definitely an antique. I don't think all the parts are there. I think most of the parts are there. There's old surveying tool. So I'm not exactly sure how to do the teeth in this mouth, but I'm gonna have to get those in here somehow. So again, I you can see I'm dipping my pencil in the water, and it's just because it really does make the charcoal come off like ink. It's almost like drawing with a pen at that point, which I know probably intimidates some people. Like it is a lot like ink, where once you put the mark down, it's really kind of hard to remove because it becomes embedded in the paper. Um, but also like, don't be afraid. Just do it. Here's the thing: if you're not like a YouTube streamer, like even if you're like a YouTube artist and you just kind of do these things and then record them and then put them up and stuff, as long as you're not a streamer, you should feel empowered to, um, you know, feel free to make mistakes. Feel free to do things. Um, Set like little challenges for yourself, and feel free to fail because like no one's watching. You can always just throw this stuff away. Like when you're a streamer, it's a little bit more difficult. You can't hide your mistakes. And then you just have to be comfortable failing as a streamer. So it's okay to fail in public. It really is. It's not a big deal. Politicians do it all the time. Fail in public. Who cares? I feel like I've seen people licking their pencils while drawing. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, that is kind of weird. I wonder why they do that. Maybe it is for the same reason. So I've seen people lick their pens because maybe the ink is a little bit dry and stuff. But yeah, maybe as for the pencils as well. It does. So honestly, like most people have pencils, even if it's not charcoal. Give it a shot. Like dip it in water, and it's just kind of cool how ink-like it becomes. And it's not like I'm saying that ink is the best thing to draw with. I just like how smooth it comes out. It's like you don't have to spend any time trying to blend it in. It's just naturally blend in. Like here, when I do this, like you can't really see because I got a crappy camera. But you can definitely see the marks that I'm making with the charcoal pencil here in like their little chin area, which is fine for this because I want that kind of texture. But like in here, I don't want you to see pencil marks. I want all that to be kind of smoothed out. So it is nice from that standpoint that it automatically becomes like kind of smooth when you wet it. It's just something I tried a couple of times and I'm like, wow, that's kind of cool. And I kind of just stuck with it. How are we doing on time? Oh, we're less than an hour. That's cool. I'm spending a lot of time on the face because that's the focal point. So that's pro tip number, I don't know, I lost count. Um, if uh if you spend a lot of time on your picture in the detailed area, the parts that people are like looking at, the parts that people care about. So in this case, it's this expression of the dog with the like eye up here, the tongue sticking out, and so on. If you spend a lot of time on that, your picture is going to be a success whether you finish the rest of it or not. Like I don't have to really worry about down here. Nobody cares. Or I guess more to the point is I create a lot of detail up in here to capture your eyes, so you don't care. I'm kind of leading you to care about this area, but not down here. I think that that's important. Now, most artists, who spend any bit of time drawing pictures and stuff, you guys already know that. It's kind of like composition 101, but for new people who's just like casually into drawing and stuff like that, it may not be as apparent to you guys. It you create a lot of detail in one area to kind of capture the viewer's attention and kind of direct them in a particular direction, if that makes sense. And there's this balance between smooth out areas and areas that have like hard lines. So you're kind of going back and forth between that. So like through here, I want there to be a little bit of detail because that's like, the chinny chin of the dog. But up here, I kind of want like the tongue to be kind of smoothed out because it is like a smooth thing. There's no like texture or ridges or anything like that in the tongue. I want this all to be kind of like really dark through here, this mouth. The picture I'm working off of is kind of grainy. That's how it usually is with pet pictures. So like the other thing I'm trying to practice is like working with like not the best photos because like if you do somebody's pet portrait, they think it's a hilarious picture of the dog sticking his tongue out, right? But you as an artist, you're like, how am I supposed to draw that? You know. So I'm also intentionally trying to work with not the best reference photos. So like I want this to kind of capture the essence of what's going on with this pose, but also like a lot of times, like nobody's a professional photographer when they take pictures of their pets or their kids or anything like that. They're just doing their best, and then they hand this over to you and they say, "Hey, draw my dog," and like you have to like kind of make sense of their terrible photos. It's just the way it is. But I do like doing things like this tongue here, like just the shadows and stuff going into the like the base of the tongue and stuff. I think that's kind of fun and cool. So through here, kind of want a hard line because you want to tell the viewer this is where the tongue ends. Anyway, I think that looks cool. So there's some whiskers in here in white. I'm not really sure how I'm supposed to draw that. Maybe I'll come back and try that with a white pencil later. The other thing that I like using the brush for and the blending stuff and so on is, the tooth of this paper, it leaves a texture regardless of what else you're trying to do. So like it's hard to see because of the terrible camera I've got, but this is super smooth through here. This right here is just naturally textured because of the paper. So I have to come in and figure out what I want to do with that. Do I want it to be smooth? Do I want it to be partly smooth? So I'm going to kind of just partly smooth this. whenever I'm using the water, it ends up drying a little bit lighter than what I put down. So this looks like really dark, but I think it'll probably dry a little bit lighter. If not, I can always kind of lift it a little bit with pencil. Once you use the water, though, it's kind of embedded in the paper, so you want to be a little bit careful. You do really want to treat the charcoal like ink whenever you use it wet, because it's not the end of the world. You can still kind of erase it, but it becomes a lot more difficult to erase. So anyway, I got some good values in here. This is nice. Some good shadows. I think that's important. I think this is turning out to be a pretty good picture of my dog, which I was super worried about because it's a weird expression. It really is, and it's outside of my comfort zone. I keep talking about my comfort zone like that's a real thing. I'm not sure I'm ever really comfortable. Like I don't know what this comfort zone this Jeremy guy keeps talking about, but I've never met a comfort zone. I'm always uncomfortable, like mentally, physically, spiritually. I live in a constant state of uncomfortableness. Keeps me on my toes though. Yeah. Like even just sitting here, I'm like, man, I'm not really comfortable. This chair isn't the most comfortable. That food I ate yesterday probably isn't sitting well in my stomach. Not a very comfortable life I live. That's okay though. So I'm not very happy with the teeth in here, but I'm not really sure what else to do about it. So I'm just going to kind of leave that simplified. All right, so I want to get a little bit darker under his chin. 1869 history is made in Fremont's Niles district. I feel like I learned so much stuff from you guys on here. I've seen some nutters maybe. I think that was the comment about licking the pencils. Yeah, just because somebody's licking a pencil doesn't mean that that's like a good thing. There's kids that eat crayons, so like licking the tip of a pencil doesn't necessarily mean that's good. Yeah. I don't know if I ever ate a crayon. I used to eat some weird stuff when I was a kid. Like I've eaten paper. I probably ate crayons. As a little kid, I tried dog food. It's not that bad. It really isn't. Like if you're ever stuck in a zombie apocalypse and you need to survive off of something, dog food's not bad, especially dog biscuits. They have zero flavor. I mean, I as an adult, I wouldn't go around eating dog food or dog biscuits and stuff, but like in a pinch, if you just need to survive or something, then like can of Alpo is not going to be too bad. Actually, I've never had wet dog food. That just sounds terrible. It sounds kind of grosser than dried dog food. Particularly dog biscuits aren't that bad. They, like I said, they have zero flavor. Like whenever the dog biscuit claims to be like peanut butter flavor, I think that's bullshit. I don't think that's true. Like, who's tasting that anyway? Like, do they actually have professional taste testers that are testing like dog biscuits? I don't, probably, but it doesn't. I seriously doubt that actually tastes like peanut butter. That dog biscuit that says it is, or bacon flavor. It may smell like bacon, like fake bacon, but I guarantee you that does not taste like actual bacon to a dog. Dogs don't care. Dogs will eat whatever, you know. But that dog is not fooled by your fake bacon. What are they called? Bacon strips? That dog does not think that's real bacon. That dog thinks, hey, this is something the human's going to let me get, and I have to steal the bacon when the human's not looking, That's all the dog is putting. That's the sum total of the thought that the dog's putting into it. Just Dave says, I swallowed ball bearings as a child. Wish I still had the X-ray. Um, like, do you ever pass that, or like, is that still stuck in your system? I'm trying to think. Like, that might still be stuck in your system. That'd be funny if, like, as an adult, you're going through like a you're going through like airport security, and they're like, why are you setting off our metal detector? Well, I ate some ball bearings when I was a kid. That'd be hilarious. So you did finally get that. That's good. That's probably not good to keep metal balls in your intestines. Cause like that stuff, I don't know. Maybe if they're stainless steel, it doesn't matter. But like, yeah, they're probably stainless steel now that I think about it. Kind of abstract in this little side here. I think he's looking pretty adorable. Or is so kid has me wanting to develop a catchphrase for this channel, and I think she's got a pretty good one. The scoopable. This doggo is scoopable. She wants to see those on t-shirts, so I feel like she's always challenging me. Like out of I don't know. I've got a bunch of different viewers. She's the one that's always giving me like a challenge, where she's like, "You should do this, you should do that," and stuff. Like I feel like she's got this clear plan for this channel in her mind, and she's gonna keep on me until I get to it. So at some point in the future, there's probably gonna be T-shirts, just because I don't think Kid's gonna let that go until there is. I think Kid actually wants one of those T-shirts that says it's scoopable. Speaking of which, I gotta do the litter box today. Like totally unrelated. Let's see. A little bit darker values through here. I think the face is looking pretty good. Develop some of these other areas. And then maybe I can put in some splatter effects, just because I'm trying to develop that style that includes splatter. Like I don't think the splatters and stuff really are going to add a lot to this picture, but I'm trying to be consistent in style. So I did it with the other one, so I'm going to try to do it with this. A little bit worried that I had too much charcoal on here. It's just, over time and stuff, I'm kind of amazed at the versatility of charcoal. Because like when I first started drawing in charcoal, it was like it's like drawing in pencil. You just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna put in some lines. I'm gonna try to darken this area in to kind of like represent some shadows and stuff like that. And that's all good. You can do all that. But then I learned that you can create, you know, almost like watercolor with the charcoal, and then I'm like, oh, that's really kind of cool. I'm going to practice that a little bit more and see where I can go. So it's like it's been this journey. That's a little bit dark. I didn't intend for that to be that dark. So it's kind of been this journey, but I like the effects of it. Yeah, that's fine. I can a little bit too dark, but that's okay. So down here is where like actual his paws or his legs start. So I really want that to be dark. So let me kind of put that in there. But yeah, it's like if you were to just kind of show somebody this picture, they might easily mistake it as like ink or, watercolor, like a monotone watercolor or something like that. Um, probably like a really super observant person might come to the conclusion, oh yeah, that's charcoal. But I don't think that that would be like the first impression. Like if I looked at this, I would probably mistake it for watercolor or ink even. It's got that ink look to it. Like I've seen people at Comic Con do do work that looks similar to this for like, I don't know, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or something like that, and it is actually ink. The darkness on these floppy ears. I'm always telling Guinness to fix his ear because like he runs around and like his ear ends up flopping up and stuff like that. So I'm like, fix your ear, and he'll like shake his head and it'll fall back into place. I like floppy ears on dogs. There's a couple of breeds that I don't think it's natural. I think they clip them or something like that to make them stand up straight. I don't like that as much. I mean, I get the aesthetic and stuff like that. If that's your thing, that's your business and stuff like that. But I don't like it as much. I like my dogs are always going to get the like little ear rub from me and stuff, and I just love the floppy ear for that. Right. So this is looking pretty cool. So the next thing is with my other pictures, I did do the splatter stuff, so I'm going to try that here and just see if I like it. I don't think it's necessary for this picture. I think it looks great without it, but just to be consistent, I'm going to do it just to kind of like put all these kind of pictures in the same style genre, I guess. And you can kind of go wherever you want to with these, but what I've been doing is kind of keeping it down towards the bottom so that it kind of like fades out into this. I don't know why, but this is making me think of Chinese food. It's lunchtime here, by the way. So like here in my time zone, it's 11 a.m. So it's getting right at lunchtime. But I don't know why this is making me think of Chinese food, but that's what's in my mind today. Anyway, I like this because it does add to that whole idea that the focal point is the face, and then as you start getting away from the face, things start dissolving, sort of. It's not really dissolving. Like obviously, this dog has a body, but in terms of the art itself, it's kind of a I don't know if abstraction is the right word, but that's the word I'm going to use. It's got a bit of abstraction down at the bottom. I have to be careful with this stuff because like sometimes I have other pictures around here. Like I literally have the two pictures that I did earlier in the week up here just so that I can remember what the style is I'm going for. So when I'm doing this splatter bit, the splatter stuff ends up everywhere. I've got it on my walls, like especially when I do the coffee paintings. I've got coffee splattered on my walls that I have to clean up every now and then, and it's the same with this charcoal. It just goes everywhere. I end up wearing it this poor shirt. Like whenever I do retire this shirt, um, like she said, she said that in August she'd be going back for her checkup. So I think I might actually be retiring this shirt soon, which is awesome. But until then, it is basically like a apron for all of these effects. So you can kind of see, and well, it's hard to see in this lighting, but this is drawing more gray than black. So that's one of the differences between this and like my coffee paintings, I think, is my coffee paintings, they basically, they dry the color that they are. Here it does come out a little bit gray once these splatters dry and so on. So that's probably enough. Well, let me get I'm using the same brush that I use for everything else. If I used a bigger brush, I might have bigger splotches. But I don't really want to mess up another brush. I like having this one, a charcoal brush. Like if I continue doing pictures like this, I might, you know, expand out and get like some other brushes and stuff to do bigger splotches. But anyway, I think that looks kind of cool. And then, you know, maybe a mole or two up here. All right, that's good enough. Yeah, I don't want to overdo it. It's just for like just kind of being consistent with practicing and stuff. So I think that's all the main layers. I don't know your dog, but this it feels like it captured your character. Yeah, so like even I mean I think it looks like the reference picture, and it definitely looks like Guinness to me. But even if it didn't, um, I feel like this captured the essence of a dog who's just making a face and stuff. So I'm pretty happy with it. I appreciate that compliment. Um, so I feel like I've gone through the main layers of the process, you know, starting with you know, massing it in, smoothing things out with the brush, adding like a detail layer, an initial detail layer, adding some splotches and stuff. I think at this point it's just kind of coming back through and looking at this. So this would be like the fourth or fifth layer, I forget, maybe fifth layer. Um, so now I'm kind of coming back through, and now that I've done all of this stuff to it, I'm going to add a little bit more detail and texture, just so it's not all like super smooth, and kind of like reinforce some areas that kind of like maybe got lost in the process. So like just do some hatching in here, some sketching. The cool thing is when you go through this all of this stuff, it makes your job easier when it comes to like, you know, sketching in fur, right? So like you want to sketch in some areas just to kind of give it that fur texture, so it's not like all super smooth and stuff. But because you did all that lower layer work, there's less fur that you have to like actually put in. You're basically just adding a few lines just to make it look fur-like at this point. And then again, some of it dries a little bit gray and lighter than it looks when it's wet. So kind of come back through and really press down hard to get some of that black back in there. So like some of these areas, I did actually want to be black. And then some of them, I'm pretty happy with it just being gray. And I think like even on these upper layers, you really should be like kind of like loose with your marks and stuff. So like you did the work already to get capture the essence of the dog. So now you can kind of just freely just kind of put in these marks without worrying about controlling them so much, because like that detail's already in there, or at least the impression of the dog's face. So like if you screw up one of these marks and it just kind of goes off the rails or something like that, it's not a big deal. The only real thing that you're worried about at this point is like you don't want like a big long mark or something, because that's going to look like long hair, and on this dog it's kind of like a short hair dog. I mean, kind of medium hair, really, not completely short hair. And you know, like I said, some of these areas are not as dark as I want them to be, so here mess with the eye a little bit. Cute little doggy. But this is my dog Guinness when he was younger. Some of this I do kind of want to smooth out because it looks a little bit rough. Like the ends of them and stuff, I think that those look good, rough, but definitely some of this stuff needs to be smoothed out. Anyway, I think it looks like my dog Guinness. Can you apologize to him for the thing coming? Just Dave would like to apologize. He's sleeping. He don't care. He does not care. Bill says, when you call the dog because it's time to get in the car and go, the dog shows up covered in mud. Yeah, absolutely. Like I always have to apologize to the vet whenever I take the dogs to the vet because even though I give them a bath, like if I don't give them a bath like 5 minutes before we go, they're already getting dirty again. So there's some truth to that. So this one might be a short one. So like this is only like an hour and 15 minutes long, this stream, but I feel like I've captured the bits of the dog that I was shooting for. So, sometimes that's all it takes. I'll probably wrap this up here soon. I love that eye. Yeah, this is a pretty cool picture of him. Looks like a dog to me. Hopefully you guys feel the same. Do you swallow your gold club? I've never had a gold anything, much less a gold club. Yeah, I think that's about done. There's probably some additional details I can add. I can probably refine some things, but for the most part, I'm happy with it. The only thing I'm not sure about with working with charcoal is like, maybe I can try. So like with my coffee paintings, it's really easy to come back and remove some stuff in order to get some features in there. This seems a bit challenging with charcoal. So I'm using a white pastel here just to try to get some teeth in here. And then like it might be like a whisker or two. Yeah, actually that works. Get like a little whisker mark in here. Okay, so there you go. I just learned something new. I can come back and add things with a white pastel because it makes sense. It's charcoal. You can use pastel with it. All right, so I'll remember that for next time. Anyway, I think this is about done. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Hopefully, you guys like this picture. I think it's kind of cool to kind of show you just for fun uh, this technique I'm working on. So this is the one I did today. This is the one I did last night. And then this is the one I did on Tuesday. I think it kind of matches in terms of style. The one I'm mostly happy with is this horse because I think it kind of looks cool in terms of showing movement and stuff like that. But there's a consistency between these three different pictures, not in terms of composition or subject matter or anything like that, but it does kind of look like it's done by the same artist. So that's really what I'm interested in these days. It's all blue because of like the lighting in here and stuff like that. But this is all like on black paper, or sorry, white on black on white paper. Um, it's not meant to be blue, but even as blue, it kind of looks a little bit cool. I like that. But anyway, so this is what I've been working on as like at least this week, just trying to practice making some pictures that kind of look interesting. Um, by comparison, I've got some dog pictures up on the wall where they're just dog pictures, like they're just pictures of a dog. There's not really any kind of like style to them or anything like that, any kind of expressive look. I really like this guy's expression, Guinness's expression here. I think he's got that look like, what? My tongue always sticks out like this. Anyway, all right. So that's it for me today. Again, it is Saturday, so I'm going to go out and I'm going to enjoy this lovely weather we've got going on here in Kentucky. I don't know if I'm going to go for bike ride, kayaking, or what, but I am going to go out into the elements. So hopefully you guys do as well. Hopefully it's nice where you guys live. Hopefully you guys enjoy your weekend. Again, it is Father's Day weekend, so to all the dads out there, be off. Dogs going nuts over here. Until then, I will see you on Tuesday. So have a good one. Bye. Thanks everyone.